Hey guys, it's Alexander Williamson here with the secret history of living in your aquarium. I have a secret that I want to tell you. Now, this is something that old hobbyists are going to know. It's an old trick that you've probably heard of if you've been in the hobby for years, especially in the pre-internet days. It was definitely a word of mouth, and when you joined a local aquarium club, it's something you may have learned. But it's a trick that can, help you have more fun in the hobby and also have a lot more offspring in the hobby if you're trying to breed a fish. So I want you to take a look at this tank right now. Over here you can see there's corydoras, and they're going up and down the glass. These are panda corydoras, or Corydoras pandus, and they are doing a classic maneuver in which the males and females are going up and down, and they will nudge each other in the belly and make a T-shaped configuration between the two of them. So when you see your cories doing that in a group, it's very likely that they are doing what they call the T-shape mating ritual or mating dance movement. And so they're going to do that up and down, and undoubtedly later tonight they will be laying eggs on the glass, most likely. They tend to lay on the glass or on vertical surfaces. So we have that going on. Seems a bit strange, but whatever. Then we also have my Kribensis down here, and they're fully colored up, and they've been doing, the female's been doing her mating dance all evening long also. Now, she has fry. She already had fry about 2 weeks ago, and she has them in here and swimming in the nearby area. They're just starting to swim on their own as a step above wrigglers. So what is going on here? The other thing, we've got an angelfish mother here, still has her ovipositor out. See that under her belly? And on this leaf here, there are, it's hard to see, but there are probably 300 to 500 eggs. A ton of eggs. The entire leaf is covered in eggs. Likewise, up here on the back side of the heater, Sergio and his new girlfriend, you can see her ovipositor is out. If you can see that little bump there is where her eggs come out. And so she's also laying eggs tonight. So we have 2 angelfish laying eggs and taking care of their eggs. We have corydoras spawning, and we have cribs that shouldn't be ready to spawning. So what in the heck is going on, guys? And I've also been able to collect eggs from these tetras, believe it or not, up in this guppy grass. So they've had some eggs that they've laid up here. If you can see, there's little eggs, very teeny, on the grass in a few spots. Let's see if we can find more. There's another one here. They're kind of scattered randomly, but they're little clear eggs. So literally all the species except the Ancestris and the Siamese algae eater are spawning in the tank right now. So what happens to be going on right now is that they've released hormones. The angelfish that started this is this gal right here. She started earlier this evening and had a very, very swollen belly and decided to lay the eggs. Now, I saw her preparing the leaf by picking at it and things with her mouth all day yesterday and the day before, and she cleaned the surface really thoroughly. Same thing went on with this gal here. She still has half of her clutch to lay. You can see it in her belly right now. But that ovipositor doesn't usually come down on the bottom there unless they're ready to lay eggs. And you can see Sergio up there is cleaning the side of the top of that heater, which is far too submerged at this point. But more on that later. So literally we have the fish preparing, and I knew something was going to happen. So what happened was uh, they released several different endorphins and chemicals known as pheromones. Now, in the fish world, in the animal world, I should say, when they release these chemicals, we call it endorphins. The same with humans. In when we are feeling happy and good and excited and maybe attracted to someone, we get an endorphin rush in our body. It triggers serotonin and dopamine and gives us a sense of accomplishment or reward. And it is postulated that with fish, it's more of a sense of instinct, perhaps, in that it gives them the sense of that they have accomplished getting to their goal, or they have the feeling of being fed and being content, getting that same reward system in their brain stimulated. And because of this, it starts a loop, and the chemical that we know as estrogen is then placed into the water because she has been this angelfish here started menstruating with her eggs. So she laid her eggs, and she needs to let evolutionarily she needs to let the males know in a big river or lake, hey, I'm ready to have my eggs fertilized. Now, usually an angelfish will have paired off, but we have a very bizarre situation tonight in which literally love is in the water and everybody is pairing off except for this poor guy. So I thought, or gal, I should say, poor gal. I thought that, we see the ovipositor there too. It wouldn't surprise me if perhaps we even see the third one lay eggs. Now, sometimes you do get a male angelfish, especially one big and old like Sergio, a couple years old, very strong and healthy. Once in a while, you do get them where they have multiple females that they can have multiple nests in, but not usually in a tank this small. So if you guys have seen this before, let me know. Each of these fish has claimed a territory. You can see, and then there's an extra female crib I have as well, by the way. But each of these fish has claimed a little territory and laid eggs, and they're wanting Sergio to come and fertilize the eggs. So they put out the pheromone, and the endorphins are triggered in his brain. So they put out the pheromones, which are a mixture of chemicals, and one of the byproducts of those and also of spawning is that she has the estrogen. And so she's letting that estrogen go into the whole tank, and now all the other fish work on estrogen. So estrogen, we use it, that's what's in birth control. It can cause both fertility like to increase or decrease. It just all depends on how it's used. Down here you can see all the other corydoras, the panda corydoras, are done doing their mating dance, and there's eggs along the rocks down in here. Under the cave here you can see dots of eggs. So it's pretty amazing that it just floats through the water. So what old-time breeders would do, and what I will do tonight also, is you take a gravel vac or a siphon, and you can take something around a half gallon of water out of a tank around a 40-gallon size, and put that into any other tank, and it will trigger any fish that is able to spawn. It will help trigger spawn. It's not a surefire method, but it definitely helps, especially if you see that one of the females is very colorful and egg-laden, like these two down here. You know she's got the big belly again. It's just odd in that they just had babies. Also odd that there's only one male angelfish in here, Sergio, and yet we have eggs laid on the same night by two fish, and maybe a third one will decide to. We don't know. So very interesting, but you can see the cories are still going at it over there, and it's something to try. So next time you see your fish spawning, especially angelfish or discus, plecos are another one, any bigger bodied fish, they can release a pretty good amount of the estrogen. The males likewise will release testosterone and growth hormone, human growth hormone. There you're seeing the female crib shake, and she might do it again here. They curl to their side, and then they vibrate very quickly. They curl to the side, and then they shimmy shake. It's a really beautiful act to watch, and it's fun to watch different species do different things. But with cichlids, these ones are from Africa, the Kribensis, whereas the angelfish are from South America, and the corydoras are from South America. So you'd think that they wouldn't have the same chemical triggers, or for instance, that maybe humans wouldn't have the same chemical triggers, but it turns out that all animals use the estrogen and human growth, or not human growth hormone, but growth hormones and various endorphins and pheromones. The endorphins are the reward, which feeds usually a serotonin and dopamine based loop in the brain. And see, she's trying to get him to follow her into the cave and lay more eggs, even though they have newly born fry that they're supposed to be taking care of. It's just it's that strong of a chemical scent tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy this little tidbit. But yeah, you just take the water from a tank where you see that angelfish have spawned. It's got to be really the night of, right after, when you're seeing they're laying eggs, and then that water is just perfect to put into any other tank, whether it's you have discus or other angelfish, whatever it may be. It will trigger them into spawning, most likely. See, they're getting territorial up here. And I don't know, I just find it fascinating. It looks like we may even see the plecos getting active as well. They're up and out and about, swimming around the juvenile plecos in here. So, very interesting to me, and very interesting to these fish, clearly. But I hope that you guys can take away something from this. Let me know if you've heard of this. See her doing her shake. Let me know if you've heard of this, especially if you heard about it years and years ago. I'd love to know how long this has been a phenomena that's noticed. I mean, everybody in the tank is just spawning. It really is one of those kind of magic miracle occurrences in nature, the way everybody just decides to go for it. I also wonder if there's an evolutionary benefit to it, in that all these different species will lay eggs, and so obviously a lot of eggs will get eaten and a lot of fry will get eaten, but maybe less when they're all happening at once. So you got to be careful if you're on birth control, or if you're taking, say, testosterone replacement medication like a gel or shampoo or something, because in our water, they can actually measure the amount of estrogen from birth control and antidepressant pills, all sorts of things in our fish's bodies, in the wild fish, and obviously in pet fish, if you're using water that has those things in it from our municipal water sources. So it's very it's a very small world. It's all a closed loop, and the same things that give your fish pleasure, happiness, and some would argue, what makes the world go round is the same set of chemicals that does it for us humans. So I hope you guys have a great night. If you like the channel, if you like the content you've been seeing lately, I really appreciate when you guys leave a comment, when you hit that like button and or subscribe, and set the little bell to on so you get the alerts. And lastly, if you want to check out more content, if you want to have more of a voice in the channel and talk about things like what you'd like me to talk about next. We did the history of angelfish recently. We're going to be doing tetras, and we could do corydoras and things. if you want to know next, koi or goldfish, we did rice fish recently, or a plant, joining on Patreon is another great way to do it. And if you don't want to support that way, you just want to sit back and relax, but you do want to help me keep this fish room going and the projects that I'm working on, then also there's a Teespring store and various links to products I use that I get a small percentage, something like 0.5% of the profit of the Amazon items, linked in my description below. All right, I've talked way too much about a simple thing that means so much, but I will be taking this bucket and moving a few gallons of water into all my tanks to get all these fish in other tanks to spawn. It's a really fun thing to do, and it feels like magic. So it can really help when you have a species that's hard to get to spawn. This can really help. So I will talk to you guys later. Take care of your critters, the people around you, and of course yourself, or you can't do the other two. And I think if all of us did that half the time, we would have a world that is twice as good. So I will talk to you guys later. Links in the description. Spread the love. Night, guys.